What is up, everyone? It is your boy, Dreadcast, and welcome to the House of Dread. We are going to put the background music just a little lower here. Yeah, there we go. All right, so welcome in, and today we're doing a video. Uh, it will be a video about how I've actually made Master Rank Tier 1 for the first time ever, and we're going to go over the deck profile that I used, the deck that I used, the profile. We'll go over it briefly at the beginning, a little more at the end. In the middle, we'll go over some replays, the core 4 replays that got me to push me through to tier 1 master, and all that good stuff. So welcome to the House of Dread. It's your boy Dreadcast, and don't remember to, if you like this type of content, Yu-gi-Oh content, I'll be doing a lot of it, as well as some horror stuff, some indie horror games I'll be playing on Twitch. Follow me there, here on YouTube, Twitter, my Discord, which is Dreadful Gaming, and anywhere you can find me. My name everywhere is pretty much Dread_cast, as you see here. You can find me right here. There's my ID, Dread_cast. Yeah, come check out all our stuff. We got an intro to Yu-Gi-Oh stuff for new players, and that's what I'm really here for, is to really help some new players. But this video in particular is about my my final stretch into Master 1 for the first time, which was pretty crazy. And the grind to get there was pretty crazy. But I do have to give a shout out to all the guys. My fan base isn't that big yet. I'm not that big yet. I have over 100 followers on Twitch. I'm looking to grow, my channel on YouTube and Twitch, and, become sort of a Yu-Gi tuber, and, expand beyond that a little bit. But if it wasn't for the, 8 to 10 guys that always watch me stream, help motivate me, help keep me focused, and keep my spirits up when things aren't going right, because this game can be tough. You go through losing streaks, you go through win streaks, you go through times where you just go up and down, back and forth, and you don't go anywhere for hours. And lately, the last few weeks or so, I've been streaming a lot and doing 6-7 hour streams on Twitch. You can go check it out, some of my latest ones, and these guys have really helped me. So shout out to all of them. You guys know who you are. That just talk in the chat, helping me out. Just some of them are newcomers, I'm helping them out. Some of them veterans helping me out, and we're all helping each other out, try to get through that grind. And they wanted to help push me through to master. So, and we did it. And it's because of them. A big reason is because of them. So I do want to give them a shout out. Shout out to all my guys out there that watch me every day, and keep me going, keep me doing this thing. Because it is a struggle and it can get very, very frustrating, as we all know. So that being said, this video is going to start with the shop, Inherited Unity. What a good selection pack. Actually, the worst selection pack that has come out probably in Master Duel ever. I hate to say it, but there's nothing here, boys. There's nothing here. Except for maybe Golden Rule, which I like for my Crystal Beast deck. And just a little background real quick before I talk about the Master 1 climb. This is Season 20. It's about to end. Since at the time of me recording this video, it is August 31st. Tomorrow will be September 1st. That means we will be into Season 21. So today would have been my last day to make Master 1 rank. And I did it last night, so that was cool. It gave me time to do this video and, a lot of other stuff. Also, before that, it was a struggle all the way through. I started playing Master Duel, just a little background on me. I started playing Master Duel when it first came out. Had no idea what I was doing, had no help from anyone. I did try to seek help a little bit, not enough probably, but I didn't know what to do, where to go, what decks to make. I ended up making decks that weren't really good, or they were too complicated. I had to dismantle them all. I wasted a lot of gems, and I ended up with a Dark Magician deck because I watched my boy Loza. Shout out to Loza, Loza. You can follow him on YouTube. He's a big Dark Magician Yu-Gi-Oh player, TCG and Master Duel. So he helped me make, get a real liking of Dark Magician. The problem with Dark Magician is it's not that great of a deck. It's a low-end rogue deck. So, if you can make even diamond rank with that deck, I mean, you really know how to play that deck. And as you guys know, maybe some of you are newcomers, but when it comes to the ladder nowadays in Master Duel, there is pretty much 6 different rankings. You got, well, obviously rookie doesn't really count, sort of like qualifying, but you have bronze with 5 tiers in each. So bronze has its 5 tiers: silver, gold, platinum, diamond, and master. 6 rankings with 5 tiers within them. And when you play early on, bronze, silver, gold, you could do fine even as a newcomer. I mean, you could breeze through it if you have a good deck, and you know the mechanics well enough. But it could take months to learn the game, and that was the case for me with Dark Magician. And I actually quit the game after 4 or 5 months of playing it with Dark Magician. I learned it really well, but I just had this one deck. I couldn't really build any other decks because I had no other gems, and I couldn't really get past Gold 1. Now, at the time, Gold 1 was basically like Platinum, I guess. Platinum 1, I guess. Because after Gold, I think it was Platinum. And maybe Platinum 1 was the highest. Maybe Diamond 1, I don't remember. But Gold 1 was basically like as if playing in Platinum or Diamond now. So it was a little different back then. But I couldn't really climb. I got tired of the deck. I got tired of playing, and I quit for a while. And I didn't come back again till early March of 2023. So about 6 months ago, basically when the Ishizu cards came out, right before the Telements. So like a month before the Telements came out, which was a bad time to come back. But I realized, maybe, the system of Master Duel actually got a lot better. They give you a lot more gems, there's more events, even though they could still really improve on that. They gave more gems, more events, and I was able to collect more gems and build a new deck. I built Umi Control, because I do like control decks, and I did really well with it. I had fun. And I think that's what the thing is once you start really expanding and learning like different decks and not just one, right? And you learn all the other decks too, and the meta and all that stuff, that's when it really starts to become more fun. Depending on what the meta is. For instance, when Tier Limits first came out, it was a Tier 0 format. 80% of the time you were playing Tier Limits. That wasn't too fun. Lately, it's been a lot better because things have been a lot more evened out. Diversified metas are a lot better. We can all probably agree on that. But, I pushed through all that. And for months, I built a bunch of decks. Umi Control. I had already Dark Magician. I built Crystal Beasts. Conclave Control, sort of. I had Goaty. When Goaty came out, I built that one. Not a very great deck either. These are all rogue decks, right? Umi was probably the best, and Crystal Beast also, especially during the Telements time. And then, because Crystal Beast doesn't use the graveyard at all. But those were the decks I was using. I really couldn't get too far. And then I eventually said, I want to try a really good combo deck, something interesting, something that's not completely meta, something that's more like tier 2, tier 3, so that I don't see a bunch of mirror matches, because I don't like that. I really don't like playing meta decks. So I built Punk, which I really love. It's probably my favorite deck. There's a lot of different ways to play it, by the way. I have two two different types of punk decks. So here's all the decks. Dark Magician was the first. Umi Control I made next, and Crystal Beasts, Goaty, and then I made the punk. The initial punk deck was pretty pure, and then I went into punk Bestials when Bestials came out. Punk Kashtira is kind of new, so basically two kinds of punk decks. I really love this. This is when I really started really liking it, playing a lot more. And then, and by the way, all this time that I'm playing with these decks since March, I'm pretty much lingering between Platinum, not really making it too far. I think I touched Diamond a couple of times throughout all those months. And then eventually I actually, when I had Punk and when I really learned Punk, which took a while because it's a pretty complicated combo deck. Plus, it's very expensive if you really want to make it proper with all the extra deck monsters that it uses. You need to invest. So finally, in season 18, which right now we're about to end season 20 and go to season 21. So season 18, which was June, the June month, was when I decided, at that point I just really started getting to know my punk deck with the Bestials. That's when the Bestials came out. And I was also playing Umi Control because it was a great time to play Umi Control because Tier Elements was starting to get hit really hard at that point. Branded was becoming strong. Dragon Link, decks like that, decks that get hurt by Umi Control pretty badly. And I actually made Master rank for the first time in season 18 at the very end, in the last day of the season with Umi Control. I went on a 8. I think I won a 9 out of 11 or something like that to actually make Master with Umi Control of all decks. Yes, I went first a lot in them, and Umi Control you need to pretty much go first in a lot of the matches. But still, I got it done with Umi Control, and it was exciting because I was like, you know what, maybe I can make Master 1 next season. It just so happened, so it turns out season 19 comes out. That's when Labyrinth comes out. Really excited about Labyrinth because once again, I'm a big control deck player. As you could tell, most of my decks are control except for Punk and maybe Kashtira is more mid-range. But I built Labyrinth. I saved a ton of gems, and then I had to get even more gems because it took like 8,000 gems for me to build it completely and get everything I needed. It's a little different from when I first built it because now you got Kashtira monsters. But basically, I had to learn that deck, and it was a very difficult deck to learn. There's a lot of different timing effects, knowing what cards to use, the ratios, everything like that, the furniture, etc. I started without the furniture too. Played the pure trap build, which wasn't very good. So I kind of had a bad season 19, and I couldn't, because after I'm in Master, after every rank you make, when the new season starts, you drop all the way back down to the rank below at the bottom. So you drop to tier 5 of Diamond if you were in Master. If you were in Diamond, you drop down to Platinum 5 and so forth. So I dropped down to, after season 19, I couldn't really do much with Labyrinth. I tried learning it for most of the month, but I also played a lot of Punk and Umi throughout it as well to try to climb and maybe make Master. I did get as high as Diamond 2, maybe Diamond 1 even a little bit for a second, but I couldn't do it because mostly I was trying to learn Labyrinth, and I ended up falling this season back down to Platinum 5, and I climbed all the way back up and made it to Master 1. I learned Labyrinth really well now. The Kashtira monsters came out, which I also saved up for all of July to get the Kashtira deck, hoping that the full deck would come out, but the full deck did not come out. So we sort of have a half-assed, not really a good version of the Kashtira deck. The best you're doing is you're filling in as much of this stuff as possible, and you don't have a lot of what's there. You don't have, the Pressured Planet Ratesaw, the field spell. You don't have your main boss monster, a Rise Heart. You don't have your your other spell, Kashtira Theosis or Big Bang. So there's a lot missing. Plus you're missing some other Kashtira monsters. So this is really like a, sort of a hopium deck. But guess what? It ended up being the deck. This exact deck profile is what took me to Master 1. So believe it or not, Kashtira got the job done. The problem is, it wasn't just Kashtira. I can't just say, oh yeah, Kashtira carried me from Diamond 2 all the way to Master 1. No, it was a combination of Kashtira, Labyrinth, and Punk Bestials, and a little bit of Punk Kashtira. But mostly Punk Bestials, Labyrinth, and Kashtira were the three that I used to climb. Labyrinth and Kashtira really pushed me through into Master. And then Punk Bestials helped me a lot within Master. But Master is very tough. I basically spent 2 or 3 streams, 3 days in a row at one point, streaming for 6 hours apiece, trying to climb into Master 1. I just kept sitting and, going back and forth from like Master 3, back to Master 5, to Master 4, back to Master 3, then 5. I couldn't quite really get to 2, and it was just a struggle. So yesterday I did a whole long 7-hour stream, and I started in Master 3, I believe. So we're going to go to the duels here. As you can see, we're Master 1. And another little note for those of you who have not made Master 1 yet, when you do make Master 1, it says you have reached the highest rank, and you cannot, here's a huge thing, you cannot get demoted below Master Tier 1. So you can experiment as much as you want. Once you're here, you could do whatever you want, play any decks you want. You can never fall, until the new season comes, of course, you can never fall below 1 again. So that's the beauty of making 1. You could just start really messing around with all types of stuff and playing really weird decks out there against really good kids, which is great exposure. But also, you don't rank up either. You don't have to win 5 in a row. There's just win streaks. So like right now it says I have a win streak of 1 right now. So you could do some win streaks in Master 1, whatever. Also, you could put this up on masterduelmeta.com. I'm sure if you go to masterduelmeta.com, you will see my Kashtira deck there that made it. So, but the thing is, if you look at the match history, when you go all the way down here, I was in Master 3 when I started streaming yesterday, last night, I believe it was. So, and I won some. I got into Master 2. I stuck around, and then I kept blue. I had some losses, some wins, some losses. This was playing with Punk Bestials and Labyrinth. I mixed and matched. I think I did Punk Bestials first. Then I did Labyrinth. More down here was that stuff. And then, as you can see, if you look at the times here, it says August 31st, midnight, a little past midnight, then all of a sudden it says 3 a.m., right? This space right here, where it jumps from like, 12:30 a.m. to 3 a.m., I stopped the stream here because I was in Master 2, and I was like, you know what, I'm exhausted. I've been grinding for 7 hours. I barely didn't make it anywhere. I barely made it to Master 2. I started in Master 3, which was fine. I was okay with that progress. I said, we'll try for Master 1 tomorrow when I'm fresh. Then I decided at 3 a.m., I said, I couldn't fall asleep. I was like, let me see, maybe I could bang off a couple of wins here, maybe really come close to Master 1. And, all this time before this, I was using Labyrinth and Punk Bestials. So I just decided at 3 a.m., let me try Kashtira again. It helped me a lot in Diamond. Maybe it'll help me, even though it's not that great of a deck, to be honest with you. It's probably like a Tier 2 deck right now. So I can't imagine when the actual Kashtira comes out, and I can't wait, because it's going to be fun, but dominating. But even this was fun. So I started at 3 a.m., and I started off with a loss in 3 turns to a Labyrinth Kashtira deck with a lot of Kashtira in it, and then a couple of Bestials. So I had a 3-turn loss to them, and then that's when things turned around right away. 3:24 a.m. we win in 1 turn against Mommy Suck Me, who played, I think Rika. This is, yep, a Rika deck. I'm pretty sure she just quit almost immediately. I think she had I went first, and she just had a bad go. Rika's not a great going second deck. It's really more for going first. It's a huge combo deck. So I think she just quit because she just didn't have anything. Basically immediately, I don't even want to show this replay because immediately when I summoned an ogre, a Kashtira ogre, she quit. So it's nothing worth watching. So I got lucky there a little bit, and I needed 3 more wins to make Master 1, and I pulled it off. Now these 2 matches were really good. The last one was anticlimactic, but we are going to watch all 3 because these are the 3 that did pull me into Master 1, and I did want to show everybody because all my guys who watch me and watch me for freaking hours upon hours try to get to Master 1, they missed all this because I did it off stream, and I want to show them now how we made it with Kashtira. Enough of me talking. Let's watch the second of the 4 wins in a row against XVN. We were playing against Brain Dead Despia. Shout out to my boy Nolan, who watches the Twitch, watches the stream in the House of Dread. He plays Branded. He likes Branded, but I call it Brain Dead Despia, and it's a pure Brain Dead Despia deck, my guys. There's not even a Kashtira in here. You got your Bestials and everything. So let's see how this turned out. A 5-turn win. I think this was a really good one. Check it out. Enjoy. I'll call out some plays along the way, and we'll see how it goes. All right. All right, here we go. So remember, we're Master 2, 3 wins away from making Master 1. So we go first. We open up with not a great hand at all. It's very all over the place. It would have been a good going second hand, actually. So we set Solemn Judgment, hit him with the Maxi at the beginning. He does not interrupt it. So the Maxi resolves, which is pretty big, and he just sets one and passes. So I don't know if he bricked or what. I used Pot of Extrav. We use Pot of Extrav. We get it. We nail a Fenrir, and we get another Birth. So this is really good, and we got the Solemn Judgment as well. So we got the Ash for the Maxi that he's about to do. So, really good start. I don't know if this guy bricked with his branded deck or if he just didn't want to play on the Maxi, but it does get more interesting, so we'll see. I also bricked, don't forget. I ashed the Maxi. He calls by the grave the Ash, and I decide, you know what? Let's Solemn Judgment. I take a huge risk here. Solemn Judgment to call by the grave because I do not want him drawing cards. I cut my life points in half just to kill a call by the grave. Really risky move. I probably wouldn't recommend it a lot of times, but it killed 2 of his cards right there. And Fenrir gets to go off. It's big. Birth comes out. Rise Heart. Rise Heart's going to bring Ogre to the banish pile because we want to get the trap. Ogre comes out. We get the trap preparations. We're pretty much almost full combo here. Preparations comes out. Oh, not yet. Well, first we go into Diablosis. So why do we go into Diablosis instead of Shangri-Era? Well, the reason being is because I'm probably not going to be able to lock up 5 of his zones. I feel like Shangri-Era is great, yeah, if you want to continuously summon on the standby phase. It's one of the biggest things it does. Also, it's very hard to out. It's a 3k defense body, etc., etc. But I want to go on attack here. It's turn 3. We want to do damage. I got 4,000 life. He's got 8,000. So I don't want to go into a Shangri-Era that doesn't attack. Plus, I got plenty of Bestials that I could get out now with preparations and Birds. So we're fine. We go right into the Diablosis. Another reason is because, and so he hits me with the Effect Veiler. Another reason is because I was thinking, let's hit him for this over 5,000 attack here. So he'll be down below 3,000, and then we'll go into Zeus. That was the plan. So, but he hits me with a Vec Veiler, so I can't really do too much banishing. Doesn't matter anyway. So this actually worked out pretty good. If I went to Shangri-La, it wouldn't have. So I crack him pretty hard. He goes to 2,800. We go into Zeus with two materials. Two materials Zeus. We set the preparations. At the end phase, he uses his Bestial Magnemite to burn his Effect Veiler from the grave to get it out, which was not the smartest move. I guess he wanted to get another Bestial, but that triggers Fenrir. Fenrir banishes Magnemite, and bye-bye Magnemite. You know what I'm saying? He's still going to get the effect off and get his Druid Worm, so I think that's what he was looking to do. So that he could get rid of Zeus when Zeus gets rid of everything else, right? So the turn happens, preparations does nothing. He puts out Blazing Cartesia. So he did have a hand, he just didn't want to play it under Max C initially. He goes into Gragonol, which is a good play. I just immediately banish it. I'm pretty aggressive like that, so I just want to get rid of it. I don't want it around at all. So that's gone. He banishes something else to get Druid Worm out there. Now, Druid Worm's a tough out because, and look, he could have crashed and tried to kill his own Druid Worm to get rid of Zeus. I think that's what he initially wanted to do because he took some time there. But Zeus is in defense position, so it wouldn't have killed him. And Druid Worm has more attack than Fenrir's attack defense. So he just takes out Fenrir here and goes into main phase 2. And he actually goes into a lot here. That's the thing about Branded. They could do a lot of stuff at the end of their phases. He gets Branded Fusion with Retribution. He gets the Shrouded Dragon out. He's waiting for me to use Zeus. And at this point, I'm saying, see, at this point, so now he gets Albion out. At this point, I'm saying to myself, I'm not using Zeus. No way, no how am I using Zeus. He wants me to use Zeus. Why? This is where you got to be smart. If you use Zeus here, yes, you're wiping his whole board. He's left with nothing. But that'll trigger Druid Worm. And that will send Zeus to the graveyard. And that means you wiped out your whole board as well. So your preparations is gone. Your birth is gone. Yes, we have another birth. But I just don't think it's necessary. I just don't think it's necessary. I think we could easily get, lethal next turn and get rid of. We have Dark Hole in hand. I mean, it's just not necessary. You got to think about what you have in your hand and everything else. So I just let him go. He's just really trying to bait me. He goes into Dragos Stapelia. He doesn't even go into Mirror Jade. Dragos Stapelia brings out Lubellion. He does the play. And I just let him get rid of Zeus. I just straight up let him get rid of Zeus. He gets his Branded Beast with his Lubellion. So now he can just pop cards in the field. He pops my birth, not knowing I have the second. But now he could pop another one. I use Dark Hole. So he does do the tribute. He pops my preparations. But luckily I have the other birth. There goes his Dragos Stapelia. The board is wiped. Dark Hole. Look at that. Animation is amazing. He still got Branded Beast on the board, but basically that's useless now. Birth brings back the Fenrir. The Fenrir gets the Unicorn. The Unicorn can be normal summoned using Birth. Birth is an amazing card. You get another Birth. Just in case we go into attack. We banish that. All we need is 2,800 damage, and that's it. Game over. So letting go of the Zeus was the right call. I think if I did use the Zeus, though, I think it wouldn't have mattered anyway. I think I would have wiped his board. And maybe he would have got some effects off, though, off of that. But I would have got rid of my preparations at my birth, and then I would have just had the birth. Which ended up being the case anyway. But I knew because I had the Dark Hole, I was in good shape, especially against Branded. So that was game number 1 of the 3 that you're going to see as we go into Master Rank 1. I know, you might be saying, how is this Master Rank 2? Like, I mean, the kid did, we both bricked at the beginning, and he did make a pretty decent comeback, so you got to give him credit for that. But some of these kids, what you'll learn about Master Rank, unlike Diamonds tends to be a little tougher sometimes, is because everyone's trying so hard to make Master, they're going to play out a lot of games. The kids in Master are very smart. If they don't have the right hand, if they think that they can't stop you, or they just, don't think they have a good going second hand, or even going first, they brick or whatever, they'll scoop immediately. They're not going to waste any time. And this one, you'll see it's not like that, but it is pretty weird. This is probably the best match out of all of them. This is the climax. This is the one that winning this one, I think, was the real reason that I made it. This was a really tough match against Draco Slayer of all decks, and this is sort of built to beat Kashtira. Like, it's a straight up floodgate deck. You got Rivalry of the Warlord, Skill Drain, Summon Limits, evenly matched. I mean, we're literally playing Draco Slayer in Master 2, and the guy knows how to play it. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here, unless he's just toying with something different. Maybe he really loves Draco Slayer. He's experimenting. You never know, because you could just change decks whenever you want, right? But this ends up being a pretty good match. I mean, we basically just wipe each other out. That's what Draco Slayer does. He just tributes cards. See, it just tributes and then sets. Very heavy control deck. Doesn't use the extra deck. Look, doesn't even have an extra deck. And he uses these traps. So he uses these traps, if you don't know about True Dracos. They use, not Draco Slayer, True Dracos, I'm sorry. They use these traps to basically stop you from doing anything. Activate this card only if you have no cards in your extra deck and control a tribute summon monster, which Draco is tribute summon, right? Negate the effects of all face-up monsters. All face-up monsters on the field while those monsters are face-up on the field, except tribute summon monsters. During the end phase, if you control no tribute summon monsters, send this card to the graveyard. So, basically, it stops you from using any of your monsters. You can't summon, you can't do anything. It works really well versus Kashtira because you need to special summon. And you can't use any of those effects. So, what I did was, obviously, I had a Kaiju. I played this 1 level 7 Kaiju for reasons like this. To basically get the Draco off the field. Get the Dynamite, the True Draco Fighter, off the field. But it still doesn't matter. I still can't really use effects. I just basically set Imperm and pass. He crashes into me. With that, he tributes that again, and now he's got another spell. It's not looking good. Another trap. So everything's still negated. If you see, still negated. Still can't do anything, right? So we're not in great shape. He uses the Draco Fighter to try to, hold on, let's see here. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect while you control a tribute to someone else, you can take one True Draco or True King continuous trap from your deck and either activate it or add it to your hand. So he was going to just gain this trap advantage. He was going to just continuously gain traps and try to stun me out, lock me out, right? So the Imperm was huge here to stop him. He does use Call by the Grave on my Fenrir in the graveyard to basically negate my Fenrir from doing anything for the next 2 turns. So it also negated his thing. That's the way I set it up. But I still wasn't able to do it. So what do? I Dark Hole. This is where Dark Hole comes in handy over Regeki, because in the Kashtira deck, you can only special summon your level 7s, well, specifically these level 7s that we got in this pack, but obviously not Rise Heart, that's a level 4 that turns into a level 7, but basically you can only summon these when there is no other monsters on the field. So Dark Hole's great if you do get Impermed, if you do get Effect Veiler, if you do get Ashed or something, and you can't do anything else, you could dark hole your own board and bring out your next monster. That's what I did. I got rid of his Draco. I got rid of my own Fenrir, and knowing that I could probably bring it back out later. And look, we have no cards in the hand. We're basically going down to nothing here, and that's what we're hoping for. So we get the preparations, because we know we could be resilient with Kashtira. It could definitely rebuild its board pretty quickly. He excavates with this card. Oh no, I'm sorry. I excavate, I burn out, I banish one of his cards, hit him for 2,800 and pass turn. I don't got much left. I hit him with the Max C, I think, right away, even though that's not going to work against this deck. Kashtira preparations. I'm able to get Fenrir out of the banish pile. And now we got two monsters set up. He sets one goes to the grave. He doesn't have any Draco. He doesn't have any monsters, but he's trying to bring one back. So that's what he does here. He uses, see, this is why this deck could be very difficult sometimes. This is the monster that they always need on the field. So with True King's Return, he brings him back. Because the spell and trap card on the field was sent to the graveyard or whatever, he could target immediately after this effect results, tribute summon one True Draco, True King monster face up. So he tributed it, I guess, with the spell. I'm not exactly sure how that works. I don't know too much about True Draco, but he got him back on the field, and now I'm worried about this trap basically stopping us. So let's see what happens. But he passed his turn after that. He's in defense mode. I draw. Wait, do I draw Rise Heart? I think I added the Rise Heart with Fenrir. Yep. I drew the instant contact. And now we're going to go into big time level 7s. I think that this is where things really just get better for him. I don't know if he just scoops here or not, but we put out a huge board and there's not much he could do. The board's enormous. We're banishing. We're going into number 11, Big Eye, to steal the True Draco. He plays Rivalry, actually knocks the number 11 away. I get a berth anyway. I bring back another Fenrir, go into battle, and he just scoops it because he knows he's getting banished and losing the game. So here's the thing. Kashtira, without half its cards, without two of its biggest spell cards, its field spell and its normal spell, Kashtira Theosis, without Big Bang, its trap, without Scareclaw Kashtira and Tealman's Kashtira, and without a Rise Heart, its ultimate boss monster, this deck is still tier 1 worthy in Master. That's crazy. That's the crazy thing about it. So there you go right there. We beat True Draco of all decks. With that win being the catalyst to one more win to go to make Master 1. And once you make Master 1, you're in. And once you're in, it doesn't matter. You can lose as much as you want. You can't fall out of Master 1, like I said before. So let's watch this match real quick. It's short. It's weird. And it's another weird deck. It's, well, not a weird deck, but a newer deck, Valance. The Pendulum deck, Valance. I'm not sure if this is like a counter to Kashtira or not. I really don't know how this deck plays. But he does a lot of stuff here. And it just turns out really weird. Let's just watch it. I did not save this replay, by the way, because it's like, this was it's so such an anticlimactic way to make it to tier 1 Master 1. This is the game. You'll see what I mean. He goes first. We hit him with Max C. And I think that's what really ultimately makes him lose. He had nothing to stop Max C with. He has his Valence field spell play, which gives you a field spell. That's how he summons his pendulums. You're going to just see a lot of pendulum back. Is Heavy Metal Foes Electromite, which is great for pendulum decks. You're just going to see a lot of pendulum stuff going back and forth, back to the extra deck. I don't really know fully how to play pendulums. I know how they function a little bit, but especially a deck like this, like there's just a lot. You're going to see there's a lot going on. Things going to the extra deck. Things popping themselves, special summoning themselves from the spell and trap zone. But as he's doing this, my hand is just getting enormous. And remember, this is turn 1. He can't attack. What can he possibly go into that could stop all this gas? Well, here comes Beyond the Pendulum, which is a great card for the Pendulum deck, but it's a gas card. It's definitely not a defense card. Now he's got a 1 and 8 as the scales, which means you're going to see a ton of pendulums coming out right now. Zink, zonk, zink, zonk, bing, 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 bing. Bullets are being fired. Ratan the Heavenly, as a royal, the Heavenly General, comes out. I'm just drawing like crazy at this point. And he scoops. And he scoops. I mean, at this point, I had to be 14, 15 cards in the hand. I don't know what he was thinking, to be honest. Oh, sorry, cracked my neck real quick. I think, to be honest, that this kid was just sort of memeing and just practicing. I feel like it's a kid who already made Master 1 probably a bunch of times and was just trying to see if he could make Master 1 with Valence for some reason. See how it played. Or he knew how it played, but he just was working on crazy lines of play. And I think that's the problem with Master Rank. I'm going to be a little controversial here. You know, for all of those people who have not made Master Rank, have not played a lot of Master Rank, the one thing I notice and I see is that a lot of people playing weird decks, especially as you get higher up, right? I think because it's people that just like can easily make Master 1 with the good decks. They're just really good players. And so they just mess around with all these crazy decks. Like, why am I playing back-to-back True Dracos and then Valence to make Master Rank 1, Tier 1? So it's like, I don't know. I feel like Master might be actually, I'm not going to say it's easier. That's not the right word. It's not easier than Diamond, but it can be a lot more, like, you can just bang out a lot more easy wins, and you get like these pretty much insta scoop wins against people without doing anything in Master, because people don't want to waste time. Especially, you have to notice, it's the end of the season. People are not trying to like play through things if they don't think they have it. So these players are just quitting and scooping right away, and you're just getting easy wins a lot of times. You know, that's what happened here. That's what happened here. But then you also have some really good games as well. But I think that's the difference between Master and Diamond, because Diamond, everybody is going to play as much as they possibly can. You will get some scoops, but you'll notice that people will play no matter what as far as they can go and try to win, because that's usually where the tryhards are, trying to get to Master. And Master seems to be like all these people that just like, they really know the game well. They're just messing around with some weird decks and whatever. If they lose, they lose. They don't care. They just scoop, you know. So you could get some easy wins, and this was a quick, easy 4 in a row. I mean, not easy, because these 2 matches were tough. But, you know, I got 2 freebies in there, which makes it an anticlimactic thing, which kind of sucks. So, but you will hear people say, oh, you'll hear Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! People, you know, on Reddit and stuff, be like, oh, well, because they're entitled, and I don't know why they say these things, but like, oh, it's so easy to make Master Rank, to make Tier 1 Master Rank in Master Duel. It's not hard. Diamond's not hard, blah, blah. You know, the kid, you know, for some people it might be easy, you know, who've been playing forever and know every single deck inside and out, sure. But this is a best of 1 format. If you keep going back and forth with loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, you're not going to go anywhere. You know, like I said, before this, I had a 7-hour stream where I barely made, it took me 7 hours to get from Tier 3 to Tier 2 in Master Rank. So I was struggling mightily. So you never really know. And then sometimes you get sacky and you win, or sometimes you get lucky and people scoop, or sometimes you get really unlucky and you're playing really good kids and you get really bricky hands and you have to scoop, or you lose and you lose 4 or 5 in a row. So that's why I say just don't be like discouraged about losing a bunch in a row or anything like that. Take a break, reset, come back to it later, try a different deck, tweak your build. I don't know, switch things up if things are going wrong. And you know, I things weren't even really going wrong before that for me. Before I went to Kashtira, which was right here at 3 a.m. You know, I was winning matches. I won 5 out of 6 here, but then I lost 1, and then I decided to call it a night because I streamed for 7 hours. But then I decided, you know what? Let's see if I could do it. All I needed was 3 more wins at this point. Then I lost. So then I needed 4, and I banged out those 4, and I did it. And I'm glad I did because now I don't have to do it today on the last day, which it is August 31st. So there you have it. These are all just games I was messing around with different decks. I was not playing Kashtira here. I was playing like Umi Control. Knowing that you can't get demoted, you're going to just see all these weird decks and you might as well practice. So that's the incentive of getting to Master 1. Practice against really good players with decks that you don't really normally get to play when you're trying to climb the ladder in Diamond and Platinum and Master or whatever. So there you have it, boys. Master 1, you have reached the highest level. You cannot get demoted, but you cannot go any higher. And the season will be over tonight, and we will be reset, and we will go back down to Diamond 5. But just wanted to show everybody that's the first time ever that I've made Master 1. Very proud of it. Very proud of the community, the little community that I'm growing on Twitch, on YouTube, all my socials. Shout out to all you guys. Thanks again. You motivated me to get here. I feel good about it. It was really fun. I wish I did it live, but that's why I'm making this video for you guys, so you could see what happened. Wasn't that exciting, was it? But there you have it. And one more time for the deck profile. I did switch it up a little bit. Initially, I was doing 3 Maxi, 3 Ash, 3 Imperm. That's like a must for me, especially in this deck. So that's 9 hand traps. And initially I was doing 2 Dark Hole, and I was doing, I think, a Nibiru. It was either a Nibiru or a Harpy's Feather Duster, or actually I did dabble with Divine Incarnate a little bit too. But then I realized, I said, you know what? Divine Incarnate, great card, but it's only good going second, first of all, right? Only good going second. And you need your opponent to do a lot of different monster effects from all the different monsters in order for you to tribute them all. So it's a big blowout play. It's great, but there's a lot of conditions that need to be met. So I said to myself, instead of that, I have 2 Dark Holes already. Those are my 2 big blowout cards, and they're great with Kashtira. The only thing they're bad against is Telements, but guess what? Bye-bye, Telements. Your time at the top is about to come to an end. So Dark Hole is going to be a really good card, even though it's an old card. And it's not once per turn, guys. It's not once per turn. It's an old card. So what did I do? I made one simple little replacement. Well, I made a couple little replacements, but in terms of going second cards, we have the 3 Maxi, 3 Ash, 3 Imperm, which I already had. That's 9. 10, 11 are the 2 Dark Hole, which I already have. The one change I made was go from Divine Incarnate to something a lot more simple. Radiant the Multidimensional Kaiju. Why? It's a level 7. So it coincides well with the deck. They're all level 7s. It's a Kaiju, so we can out one big monster like a Shangri-Ira if you're playing the mirror match very easily with this, and not have to worry about it too much. And I think a 1-of is fine for that. You know? You don't want to go too crazy with Kaijus. We already have a ton of level 7, and it could get very bricky with all the level 7s, especially the Kashtira level 7s. You have to remember, Fenrir, Unicorn, and Ogre, only one of them can summon per turn unless you got Birth. That's why we play 3 birth and 3 unicorn. So you have 6 ways to get the birth, but if you don't get it, you can only get, the Fenrir out there. Maybe you could get the Rise Heart and go into a Shangri-Era. Like, you really can't do too much going first unless you get the birth or the unicorn. So it gets very bricky like that. That's why what I did was I said, let's make it more balanced. So we have 12 going second cards. Well, really 13 if you count Down Wrestler Pankratops, which I also added. I mean, I've had it for a while, but this is good because why this over Curry Card Divine Incarnate? Because Curry Card Divine Incarnate has no synergy with the deck whatsoever besides being a big blowout monster that can OTK going second. That's it. It's its own thing, right? It's as if you're playing Harpy's Feather Duster, right? It has no synergy. Dark Hole has synergy with the deck. It can help the deck, right? This as well, it's a level 7. So let's say you might say, oh, this is only good for going second because then you contribute your opponent's monster. But no, it's a level 7. You could actually normal summon it off of birth. Because birth allows you to normal summon any level 7 monster without attributing. But that counts as your normal summon. So you could do that with this. There's the synergy. So it could be played going first. It could be played going second. And it's a big time spot removal card that can't be stopped. So you get rid of like a Psychic End Punisher, a Shangri-Era, a Rukalos, a Kaleido, whatever, even like a Sprite Elf, whatever you want to get rid of. Brone the Floor, you get rid of with this. So we have a solid 12 to 13 going second cards. Pankratops is another great one. Once again, it's a level 7. Yes, you might say it's only really a going second card. It's not in this deck because you can normal summon it with birth. So you could just have it out there as fodder, as a level 7 to go into your Xyz level 7s. But going second, it's fantastic. It's like a lesser version of Fenrir. And then the other beauty thing about it is that it special summons itself going second because it can easily special summon as long as your opponent has more monsters. And then it can't be impermed, it can't be ash, none of that. It just tributes itself and pops any card on the field. That's excellent. And then it empties the field so you could play your other Kashtira monsters. That's another great thing about it. So definitely recommend Dino Wrestler Pankratops. Just one though, because it's a UR, it's expensive. A lot of people play 2 Ascendant of the Thunder. 3 of them. I play 2 because of Dino Wrestler Pankratops and also because I feel like 3 is just overkill. You don't really want to see 2 in the hand unless you got like a birth because you don't want to be paying 3,000 life points 2 times to summon this thing unless you're going for like an OTK. I mean, you're paying 6,000 life points if you're summoning 2 of these things. So now you're down to 2,000. That's if you haven't gotten hit already. Now, the good thing about this card is if it does get destroyed by an opponent's card or by battle, you gain another 5,000 life points. So that's cool. But this is really just a card that basically can special summon itself at any time without being negated, really, because it's not an activated effect. It's just an effect. You can't just negate it with Rukalos. Like, Rukalos cannot negate this. It just comes out. It just happens, right? There's no commas. There's no semicolons, no colons. Read the first sentence. You could just special summon it. So it's great with the Kashtira monsters because a lot of them can't come out together at the same time. So instead, maybe you could go into an XC7 with something like this. So I think 2 is fine. Like I said, I replaced the 3rd one with the Pankratops. Those are my 3 like Garnet level 7s, right? Plus you got the Kaiju. So that counts too. And you do want a good amount of monsters because the problem with the deck is it doesn't have the rest of its Kashtira stuff to get it going. So you want to be able to get as many 7s out there as possible. I think one of the most important cards is the 4, Rise Heart, because it's the only 4. So that means it could be normal summoned, right, without birth. Not only that, it's the best extender of all the Kashtira monsters because it could be special summoned if another Kashtira monster is on the field. The rest of them can only be special summoned while the field is empty or while you have no monsters on your side of the field. But Rise Heart can only special summon if you have a Kashtira monster on the field. So it works really well with all that. I think you got to play it at 3, and I also play Reinforcement of the Army. So basically I'm paying 4 copies of Rise Heart because you do want to see it. Plus, if you do open a Rise Heart and a Reinforcement of the Army, Reinforcement of the Army is a great bait for an Ash. So you got to think about things like that. There's a lot of bait in here too. So we have that, of course, the 2 Fenrir, of course, 3 Unicorn is a must. And I go 2 Ogre instead of 3. I think 3 is overkill. Once again, you don't want too many of these level 7 Kashtira monsters. If you have too many in the hand and you can't get birth, you're stuck with them in your hand. You know, you can only get 1 out. And maybe if you have one of the other level 7s, you can get them out. But that's why I'm playing 2 Ogre. So I can play something like the Kaiju or the Reinforcement of the Army or the Pankratops or whatever. You know what I mean? So altogether, we got 3 Rise Heart. I'm not going to count the Kaiju because it's more of really a niche going second card. So we're not going to count that, but you got the 3 Rise Heart plus the Reinforcement of the Army. That's 4 right there. 4 level 7, 4 monsters. It's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Only 14. I know that seems like a little. It seems like most people are playing 15 or 16, maybe a little more. But here's where instant contact is the big change that I made that really has made a difference, I think. If they do stop you, if you do open up too many Kashtira monsters and you can't get more 7s on the field, instant contact, excellent card. Because it's just basically another way to special summon a level 7 for free. I mean, you pay 1,000 life points, but, instead of having 3 Ascendant of Thunder, you play the 2, and you play 2 instant contact. Now you could use both and not pay too many life points, right? The only problem with instant contact is that the monsters that come out, which you have your elemental heroes, I have a light 7 and a dark 7, just to keep all the attributes different, I guess. Doesn't really matter, but it can't do anything. It's just strictly fodder. But it's a great thing to do because basically it's an extender, a free extender that you can do. Just remember one thing: you cannot use it if you've already used Rise Heart's special summon effect. If Rise Heart is special summoned, you can only go into XCs, which means you cannot use instant contact. So do not use Rise Heart before you use the instant contact. Just letting you know. But I'm only playing 2 because I don't like playing anything at 3 unless it's absolutely necessary, like a Unicorn. Or if it's something like Dark Hole where it's not once per turn. This is a once per turn card. It is not absolutely necessary. It's not part of the archetype, so 2 is fine. A lot of people play it at 3, but if you see 2 of these in your hand, that's bricky. That's clogging the hand. So 2 is fine. And then you got the 2 7s just because we play the pots, So basically I got 2 of everything. I'm going to get into the extra deck in a second, but let's keep going. So basically you tack those 2 instant contacts on, and you got 16 total monsters, right? Including, and if you want to add the Kaiju, it's 17. So you have a lot of options. But that's not the only gas, right? We got 3 pots. A lot of people play a lot of different things. Some people play in their Kashtira deck right now. They're playing this card. Where is it? The Sacred Sword of 7 Stars. Yes, it seems like it's really good. Banish 1 level 7 monster from your hand or face-up field. Sick that you could do from the hand and draw 2 cards. Excellent, right? And it's really good if you've special summoned, let's say Fenrir, and then they imperm you or they ash you, and then you can't really do anything with it. So you banish it, you draw 2, maybe you get a Unicorn, then you can really get all your plays going. So it's definitely a good, cheaper option. The problem is, I don't like when you're playing a deck like this that can be bricky and that isn't complete. It's missing a lot of its pieces. You don't want too many cards that are conditional, that have to rely on a condition. So this has to rely on the fact that you have a level 7 in your hand or on your face-up field in order for you to pull this off. On top of that, what if you don't want to banish that one level 7? And you're taking a chance drawing the 2 cards. So I much rather have the 2 pot of extra where it's a guaranteed, there's no condition. All you got to do is do it at the beginning of the main phase, and boom, you draw 2. But the only problem is they randomize the 3 to 6 that you banish from your extra deck. So you could only draw 1 and banish 3, so it gives you that option, which is nice. But a lot of times it really doesn't hurt because we're not playing a lot of extra deck monsters. There's really not too much to go into, that's why I think pot of extra is perfect. Playing only 2 because they are cutting it down to do 2 anyway. Plus, you want the 1 pot of prosperity. Pot of prosperity is probably better. It lets you choose the 3 or 6 that you want to banish. So you could choose each one of the 2 ofs, but you only get 1, but you get to excavate 3 or 6, and pick the one you want. So you can basically pluck a birth, pluck a unicorn. It's a lot better, I think. But, Extrav is also extremely good. They're both excellent. The other great thing, too, that you need to know about this is that if you're always going to, let's say you open with a pot of Extrav and a pot of prosperity. You're always going to use the pot of prosperity first. Do it. You have to do it. Let's say you want to use the pot of Extrav first. Let's say you want to use the pot of prosperity first because you think it's better. Don't do it because then you definitely can't use the pot of Extrav because it has to be used first. It has to be used at the start of the main phase. It's got to be the first thing you do. So you use the pot of Extrav first. Now let's say they ash it, okay? They ash the pot of Extrav, right? That means the effect didn't go through. And if you read the card, it says, for the rest of this turn, the last sentence, it says, for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot draw any cards by card effects. If it's ashed, it does not resolve, meaning you can now still use the pot of prosperity. So if you open a prosperity and an extra, you actually can bait the ash with the extra and still use the prosperity. It's really good. I definitely recommend playing the 3 pots. This is just absolute gas for the deck, and it needs it. So, on top of the 16, 17 monsters that I'm playing, or things that could get you to monsters at least, you got 3 pieces of absolute gas. So we're talking 20 monsters / starters, right? And that's that part of the deck. We talked about Dark Hole. We talked about Reinforcement Army. We talked about all the hand traps. The final thing to talk about is we got 2 Deep Fissure. Once again, unless it's like an absolutely necessary card, I'm not playing it at 3. Fissure is great, but because you're seeing so many Kashtira mirror matches, and that's the one annoying thing. This is why I didn't play it so much through Master and Diamond, because I was just seeing it constantly. And if I wasn't seeing pure Kashtira, I was seeing Punk Kashtira or Runic Kashtira or Adventure Kashtira, all types of Kashtira. So Dimensional Fissure does nothing to them. It becomes useless versus them, right? But it's great versus T-Elements. It's great versus decks like that. So this is a card that's going to be interesting when we go into the next meta when T-Elements is pretty much going to be a dying breed. Will Fissure be as useful? I think so. But you might see a lot more people playing Kashtira. So you got to make that decision. You could also play D-Shifter. I just think D-Shifter is not that great because you don't want to draw into it later in the game. You want to open it in your opening hand. If you don't, it's terrible because if you draw it, you can't use it. Because once something's in the graveyard, it can't be used. Fissure can always be used. And it's very hard to get rid of too. You have to, obviously pop it or something. And they have to focus on that then. And use resources for that. So I think 2 is perfect. You'll see it. Plus, you don't want to see 2 of these. Why have 2 of these? There's absolutely no reason to have 2 of these in your hand. So, you play something at 3 if you're okay with seeing 2 of them. No, you just want to see one of these. So Fissure's cool. You could do Macrocosmos too. I think Fissure's better because it immediately comes onto the field. When you go first and when you go second, it immediately comes onto the field when you go second. So your opponent can't do any crazy graveyard plays if they're trying to do great graveyard plays on your turn. It's just faster, right? Yeah, it doesn't banish everything, but most of the time you want to be banishing the monsters. You don't really care too much about the spells and traps. Unless you're playing like Sky Striker, which you're not going to be. So, 3 Birth, of course, that's a must in this deck. The best card in the deck. The most important card in the deck. The mirror match is basically who can get to this card first and who can keep this card on the field, because if you can, you're going full combo and you're winning the game. It does so much. I don't know. We'll see when the other Kashtira cards come out. This might be the best Kashtira card. I don't know. To me, it is. To me, it's the best Kashtira card. Yes, Fenrir might be the most versatile, and it's absolutely amazing, yes. But in terms of the archetype, this might be the best card. I gotta see. We'll see how the field spell and Theosis and Big Bang. I know it's better than Big Bang, and I know it's better than Theosis, but the field spell is also really, really good. So we'll see how that goes. I also have 1 cross out. I don't have any call buys, which is interesting. I think the reason why is because of Dark Hole. If you do get ashed, if you do get impermed, something does happen to any of your monsters, you just Dark Hole it, and you bring your other monsters out. It's not a big problem. Plus, you got plenty of other 7s that you could summon, and then you could XE summon and bring them back with Birth. It's like you don't have to worry about call by the graving things too much. If they max C you got Ash, right? That's why you're playing Ash. That's the one thing you really got to worry about is max C. Ash, imperm, yeah, it hurts, but it won't completely kill you. So I'm playing the 1 cross out for one reason. Well, for 2 reasons. The obvious reason being it will negate any imperm, Ash, or maxi if I wanted to, right? Also against the mirror match, it'll negate anything that Kashtira is playing. Any Kashtira monsters, I can negate what they do if they come out. I can negate Birth, great for that. But it's double synergy here. Once again, where does its synergy come from? You can use this if you're in a pinch. You could banish one of your own Kashtira monsters, usually like a Fenrir or a Unicorn or whatever. You banish it, right? And then you use, this is if you have Birth, though. You have Birth and no other monsters. You banish it, and then you could bring it back with Birth. Yes, you can't use its effects yet, but at least you could set up a board, and you got a 7 on the board, and maybe you could extend a little further. So it just gives you a little bit extra with the Kashtira monsters, because you could bring it back off of the crossout, right? So it's a nice little, handy little, negate to have. 3 imperm we went over, and then here's a little bit of spice. Well, preparations, playing the 1 preparations. Preparations is really good. Birth is obviously way better, but preparations is still really, really good. Especially if you're playing a deck that uses traps like Trap Tricks or Labyrinth. This thing, its last effect is more powerful than Birth's last effect. Birth banishes 3 cards from the graveyard that you choose. This, if a trap card is played, you look at your opponent's hand. You literally get to see your opponent's hand, and you can banish 1 card from your opponent's hand. That's really powerful. So there is a case to be made to play 2 of these, but I'm only playing 1 because the problem is its initial effect isn't great. It's the fact that you can only special summon from your hand or the banish pile, whereas Birth can special summon from the graveyard or banish pile. We don't really care about special summoning from the hand too much, unless, we have a level 7 and we need to get another level 7 like Ogre or Unicorn on the field as well. Then it comes in handy. Plus, you could use this once per turn, every turn, birth you can only use on your turn. So it has its functions. There could be a case to play 2 of them, but then some people might just say, oh, well, why don't you just play 3 Ogre? Well, because what if they pop the 1 prep you have, then Ogre doesn't matter. So I would rather play 2 prep and 2 Ogre than 3 Ogre and 1 prep, just saying. And then here's my 2 little bits of spice that I really love. I've been playing Solemn Judgment in almost everything. I think you saw in the replay, I pretty much beat the kid because I Solemn Judgment his Call by the Grave. This thing stops everything. The only thing it doesn't stop is the actual monster effects. So if your opponent does like a monster effect on the field or a monster effect from the graveyard, and there's no summoning involved, it can't negate it. But whatever. You have plenty of other ways to stop things like that. This is great for a boss monster. It's basically like the going first version of the Kaiju. The Kaiju outs the boss monster going second. This outs the boss monster going first. You need cards going first in this deck because it doesn't have anything. It has no negates. It has nothing. It just has its banishing effects, its Shangri-Era, and its Diablosis, which it's all about banishing. There's no protection. The only thing that's protected is Shangri-Era from itself, but everything else is not protected. You could easily board wipe a Kashtira board. So you want some sort of protection. I think Solemn Judgment is a great piece of protection. Yes, you pay half your life points, but honestly, it's worth it for a counter trap like this. This card is like insane. And you're only playing it at 1. It's sacky, yes, but it's so powerful that it's worth the sackiness, right? Here's another one that I think is worth it. Dogmatic Punishment. To be honest, for some reason, I never really see this. I haven't really been seeing it, but I know it comes through. It's great in Labyrinth, of course. If you have Entis, you have this. This is a great way on your opponent's turn, especially in the mirror match. They summon Unicorn, okay? They summon Unicorn. They search for the field spell, for the birth spell. They get the birth spell. They put it on the field. They activate birth, or before they even activate birth. They will activate birth. Once they put it on the field, they activate birth. So now you got Unicorn and birth on the field. You can use Dogmatic Punishment. Pop the Unicorn, which is a 2500 attack monster. Entis also happens to be a 2500 attack monster. So according to Dogmatic Punishment, equal or higher attack. Entis goes to the grave, and Entis is amazing because if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 card on the field, destroy it. This is a really good Labyrinth card. It's a UR though, it's expensive. So you could basically get a double pop. And I'm not talking about just like a double monster pop. You pop 1 monster, and then you could pop any other card on the field. So if they got, like if Tearlaments has their Perlarino on the field, if Kashtira has their field spell on the field, if Punk has their field spell, you could pop that as well and really just decimate them pretty easily with Dogmatic Punishment. So it's a great card to have. I think as a one-of, it's great in this deck. Plus, the whole point is that there's only so much you can put in this extra deck right now without a Rise Heart and everything. There's not a lot of great level 7 XE7s, but you want to play everything at 2. So it's perfect. You play 2 Entis, right, for the Dogmatic Punishment. You have the 2 Elemental Hero monsters for the instant contact as more level 7 fodder. I throw in a Brawn the Floor and a Chen Yang in there, 2 absolutely monstrous synchro boss monsters. Just in case you open up 2 Ash and a level 7, you could go right into a Barone or a Chen Yang or whatever. Since there's a lot of banishing going on, Chen Yang could be really, really big. And that's sort of like the 2 of. It's like they're paired together for me. You know what I mean? You're not going to have 2 of each of those. You got your number 11 Big Eye, which is awesome. You could steal your opponent's Shangri-Era. You could steal anything, and you permanently steal that monster from them. And you could do that again on your next turn, because every time you detach a material, you could take a monster. So you could do it twice if they don't out it. So you could literally steal 2 monsters. This thing's awesome. Problem is you can't attack with it the turn you do it, but it's such a good play that no one cares. Playing one Red Eyes. I want to play two. Red Eyes is really good. If, let's say, you pop your opponent, you try to OTK him, because you could do a massive amount of damage with this deck, because it's easy to get all these monsters out quick, 2 or 3 of them, boom, 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 pop them down to like 1,000 life points. You put out Red Eyes, they're basically dead. They do 2 plays and they're done. Because for every card effect, it inflicts 500 damage to them. Also, this card cannot be destroyed by card effects while it has material. So it's unaffected by Dark Hole. It's great. It's 2,800 attack. It's a good card to use to go into Zeus also. So I want to play it too, but the problem is you got all this other stuff. So, and all this other stuff is more important. Like number 11 is a little bit more important going second than Red Eyes. But it's a good little niche thing to have. The 2 Diablosis, we all know what that does. That's probably going to get banned when the full Kashtira support comes out, because this is what really allows Shangri-La to start locking all your freaking zones. So that's probably going to be gone. That'll leave more room in the deck. This card's great. It's only a rare, and this card's like unbelievable. This card is a 2,800 attack, level 7 Dragon monster that you can literally attack with it during the battle phase. And then after that, if you read the last sentence, you can still, it says you can detach one material from this card to then target one card your opponent controls, destroy it. By the way, then target one card your opponent controls, any card, not just a monster, not just a face-up card, like any card, destroy it, then banish one card from your graveyard. Also, this card cannot attack for the rest of this turn. It cannot attack for the rest of this turn. It doesn't say you cannot attack this turn. So you could still attack with it, then do these plays after. So you could literally pop a card by destroying it with attacking it, and pop 2. You could pop a card by detaching after, and the best part is it's not once per turn. So you could detach the second one, the second card that you attach to it, and pop another card. You could literally get rid of 3 cards on the field with this thing. It's ridiculous. How is this a rare? And also, it says 2+ level 7 monsters. So you could literally use 4 level 7 monsters with this thing and almost wipe an entire field. It's actually insane. I want to play it at 2, actually. I'm putting it at 2. I don't know. I might think about it because it's honestly that good. But definitely want it in the deck. And then, of course, 2 Shangri-La. A lot of people are playing 3. Because, of course, you know, you got Nightmare Unicorn banishing the extra deck. But I don't care enough. Like, I'm not going to play it at 3. Like, it's good. It's not that good. It's, yes, it locks the zones. But we're not really locking zones with this form of the deck. Unless you're playing, like, a super turbo-heavy level 7, get as many 7s out as possible type of deck. I'm not. I'm playing more balanced approach. So Shangri-La isn't that important. It's important because it can block with the 3,000 defense. It protects itself from destruction up to twice per any time. It could protect itself twice from destruction and battle destruction twice, as long as it's got 2 material or more. So if it's got 2 material, you could protect it twice from any type of destruction. If it's got 3, you could do it 3 times, and that's not once per turn. So that's insane. And then also every standby phase, you get to special summon a cash. The big thing is you get special summon a Kashtira monster from the deck every standby phase, which is really good. But that could just get ashed. You could get impermed. The one thing is the zone lockage can't be stopped. As long as it's face up on the field, the zones will stay locked. That's why people play Book of Moon against this deck, because then they can just flip it and the zones are no longer locked. So, but we don't have to worry about that yet until Kashtira is at full capacity. Then the zone locking thing might be an issue, because it's really not enough firepower right now to worry about that. And Diablosis is going to get banned anyway, so the zone locking shit is not going to be really the thing. It's going to be a Rise Heart and the rest of the banishing stuff that's going to really be the prominent factor of Kashtira, and whatever other creative stuff you could come up with. Like for me, the Dogmatica, I think that's pretty creative. And then of course you got Zeus. Zeus, if you're playing Xyz monsters, you got to play Zeus. Comes in handy. I showed you a replay where it actually came in handy because it made my branded opponent, have to like play around it and go into all these weird things like Dragostapelia and not go into things that I wanted to go into, like Mirror Jade, just to get rid of it, just to find out that, I was just rebuilding my board next turn anyway and wiping his board anyway. So it's a great deterrent, and it could just wipe the whole board, and it's a 3K body. I mean, you kidding me? There's nothing better than that. Very easy to make too. So, and there you have it. That's it for this video because that was long. I just wanted to go over the deck list. The biggest things I changed were the 2 instant contacts, just to have a little more gas, a little more easy level 7 summoning for going first. Dogmatic of Punishment with the Entis, just to have some going first interruptions. Solemn Judgment, Dogmatic Punishment come in the clutch that way, and so does Crossout. So you got like 3 of these type of niche going first cards. And then you got of course, your 9 hand traps, your 2 board breaker dark holes, and your Kaiju. I think it mixes really well because they all synergize really well together. And of course, that's the Kashtira lineup and the extra deck. And that's your Master 1 rank. Master rank tier 1 Kashtira, pure Kashtira to win it all deck. But don't forget, it wasn't just that. It was Punk Bestials, it was Labyrinth 2, everything. I used all those decks basically to climb through Diamond and through Master. So it just so happened to be Kashtira was the one that got me there. So there you have it. I hope this helped. Maybe learn a little bit more about Kashtira. Maybe motivate you to try to climb and don't get discouraged if you lose a bunch of games. Take a break, reset. And once again, shout out to my boys who watch on Twitch. And yes, please give me a follow if you like this stuff. I'm making more. I'm going to do more intro to Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, more videos on YouTube. I'm coming up with a tier list when the ban list comes out, when the new selection pack comes out with Purely. We got all these new decks coming out, Rescue Ace, etc. There's a lot of stuff happening. And of course, I'm going to do some more horror, indie horror games too here and there. So just like little things to have fun with. But thanks again for watching. Catch y'all later. It's your boy, Dreadcast. Welcome to the House of Dread. We out. See you guys next time. Hope you have a good day.